In daily living, some activities play a pivotal role in not only providing the basic necessities of life, but also sustaining man's well-being and above all, survival. One of such activities is agriculture, and it is the foundation of human civilization, providing food, clothing, and raw materials necessary for day-to-day living. Today on the program, we shall be taking a look at Nigeria's drive towards sustainable agriculture. I am Frama Hanyi, and our guest is Dr. Michael Teunga David, environmental advocate and executive director, Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation. We're honored to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We shall take an excerpt to set the tone for today's discourse.
Those places we find food stored and sold are a pretty recent inventions. The first supermarket in the USA opened in 1949. Before then, our food came from forests, fields, gardens, and backyards. Today, many women are stepping away from the grocery stores and embracing their independence by nurturing their own gardens. They are not just growing food for themselves, they're expanding the community's food supply. Those remarkable women have fully embraced the Every Home a Garden initiative led by Nigeria's First Lady.
The mission is towards a better life for families. The goals to ensure women in Nigeria are engaged in productive activities that contribute to the socio-economic development of individuals, communities, and the nation at large.
Their efforts go beyond just planting vegetables, fruits, and herbs.
Once more, welcome on the program Frontiers.
Thank you.
Now, climate change is a major source of concern across the globe. How can Nigerian farmers be encouraged to adopt climate-resilient agricultural practices?
Yes, climate change is indeed a major concern globally. And for us, the impact of climate change on food security, looking at the statistics which clearly shows that so many Nigerians have food poor. The Cadre Harmonizing Report, which was released early this year, in March, shows that over 30 million Nigerians will face food insecurity from this lean month of June to August. And clearly, climate change is largely responsible among other issues. So the question I will ask is, have you eaten today? And to all Nigerians, have you eaten? Where does your food come from? When will you have your next meal? And so, it is a responsibility of every Nigerian to ensure that they have food. Why? Knowing that government, through the Right to Food Act, is responsible for making food available, affordable for Nigerians, citizens must take action, not just farmers, but everyone. And that's where we are looking at the concept of urban farming, where everyone can grow food within his or her neighborhood. That empty space within your compound, what are you doing with it? You can grow food, fresh vegetables that are nutritious, that are without chemicals. That's why I ask, where does your food come from? Because growing food within your environment keeps you in charge. You know exactly what input you are putting into. But it's also good for the environment in terms of even carbon sequestration, in terms of waste management. What do I mean waste management? All your organic waste within your home will be used to produce manure, that can be used for the farm as well. Now, the concept of urban farming in the context of the situation we have at hand now is such that you can use all the materials, empty bags, empty sacks, like those empty bags of cement or big sacks, empty containers, plastic containers, that you can just import or get topsoil, treat it, just add manure to it, and you can grow crops within your environment. So imagine every household in Nigeria is growing something. You can imagine the impact of that on our food security. But doing this gives a lot of joy, not just to the farmer, but to the young ones around, because they are also learning. A lot of our kids these days, if you ask them where does yam come from, they will tell you from the market. They don't understand that it can be grown. You can actually grow yam within your homes. Practically, I've done that. Last year, we planted 250 empty bags of cement and we harvested 250 big tubers of yam. And the space I'm talking about is not very big, just about a 50 square meter space. With this climate change, rainfall patterns are changing. Many of our farmers don't have the right weather information. So as soon as there is rain, they go plant, and then there is this cessation, and then everything dries up. And of course, the impact of that is that all their inputs are gone, all their savings that they have put into the farm is gone. But with this urban farming concept, you can farm all year round, right? You don't need to wait for rain. When there is no rain, there is dry spell, you keep irrigating, within your neighborhood. You just keep irrigating and putting the right input. And you can also farm all year round. You don't need to wait. Farming must not be practiced in the rainy season alone. Okay. I know largely in Nigeria, we depend so much on rain-fed agriculture. But with impact of climate change, impacting and changing rainfall patterns, we cannot continue to depend on rain-fed agriculture. So we have to look for other ways to grow our food. And one of the joy of growing food within the neighborhood is that you are growing organically. You nearly use zero chemicals. So you are sure of where your food is coming from.
Okay. Now, can you share with us the most significant or some of the significant challenges facing Nigeria's agricultural sector today?
Well, these issues have been there right from secondary or primary school. You hear the challenges of agriculture or farmers in Nigeria. You hear, my lack of input, mechanization and all. It really has not changed. But the Nigerian farmer must go beyond the use of hoe and cutlass. Look at our population. When our farmers were mostly subsistence in nature, our population was actually small, right? So we're growing just little to feed our family and then sell the excess. But look at the population, about 230 million Nigerians. The size of land has not increased. It's actually reducing because of, soil and land degradation. So some of the major challenges that are the smallholder farmers, which I want to emphasize on, is that they lack input. The cost of input now is expensive. Many of the smallholder farmers cannot afford, and that is why you see that imported food will always be cheaper than the locally produced food. Okay. So it's a very big issue for our farmers. Yes, the insecurity for me at the moment is number one. A lot of farmers cannot have access to their land, especially within the north central, the northeast and the northwest. Farmers are being killed nearly on a daily basis. So they are leaving the farmlands, and that's why we are advocating that even if you are no longer in the farm, you can still grow something. Even within your IDP camps where you are, you can still grow something within the community, within the neighborhood. There, you will not have herdsmen that will attack you and all. So we need to really look at the issue of security for our farmers, look at the input for our farmers, and the right information and knowledge, especially climate related information, which our farmers don't have. Most of our farmers still depend on the old school system of farming. That has changed. The global warming has changed all of that. So if you don't give farmers the right information at the right time, then these issues will continue.
Okay. Now, Doctor, what are the benefits and drawbacks of using technology in agriculture?
So globally, technology has been adopted to improve food production. Yes, it has a lot of advantages, but also some disadvantages. Now, if you look at mechanized agriculture, of course, with the high population, we need to grow more food. And to do that, you need machines, right? Some of these machines are not, in fact, they are not cheap. And our local farmers cannot afford it, right? That's a major issue.
Okay.
Now, when you also look at the technologies like improving seedlings or improving varieties of seeds for our farmers, is a positive one, especially when you have drought resistant varieties. You have varieties that pests cannot, affect and all. But some of these have some level of disadvantages. I don't want to go into the discussion on GMOs, but the challenge with some of the technologies is that we are slowly losing our local varieties, our local food, which I would say they are highly nutritious. They must be preserved because they are part of our lives and they are our culture. So when we are open to some level of technology that is not developed locally, and you are just importing technology, completely without looking at the disadvantages, then we are doing ourselves a great danger. Here, I'm referring to the seed and seed companies. Around the world, there are no more than 5 to 7 seed companies that control what farmers grow globally. So before now, our farmers will harvest, they will do local seed selection and keep, and they will plant the next year. Right now, most of the varieties we have, our farmers cannot do that. So every year, they keep buying seeds from seed companies. So imagine a situation where by this rainy season or by the next cropping season, there are no seeds. We have lost the local ones, and then even the ones that we get through the seed companies, if it's not there, it means the entire country can be grounded. So it is actually a national security issue as well, if we take a look at it holistically. Now, some of the other technology, in quotes, that our farmers have adopted now that is destroying our soil and destroying our environment and ecosystem is a heavy use of herbicides and chemicals. You go all around farmers, you see them with knapsack sprayers. They don't even know the impact of this on the environment, the quantity they should apply on the crops and the farms and all of that. And then they spray all of this on the crops. Some just harvest it like that and take to the market, and people consume, and it's a problem to our health, food safety. Now, these chemicals also destroy all the microorganisms within the soil, which are needed for soil fertility. And so that's why it is not every technology that we should be quick to adopt. Yes, it is easy, for our farmers to use, but the impact is great.
Okay. Doctor, let's pause here and take a short break. The program continues in a moment. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, what are some of the most promising crops Nigeria can focus on to drive economic growth and food security?
When you look at the staple crops, rice, yam, maize, even though I'm aware that government gave the waiver for the importation of rice, of maize and wheat, but the prices of bread have remained what it was when that import ban was there. It's a major concern. You look at the number of people that eat bread every day in the country, then you know that yes, we should focus our attention on wheat production. Let's look at maize again. Maize is not just for human consumption. When you go around the corners and you see our farmers roasting maize, our mothers roasting maize and selling, it doesn't really end there. It's also does not end with the production of the common corn food that Nigerians are used to. Now, large quantity of maize used in the production of feed for chickens. And that's where you see that the prices of eggs have gone up so high. You know, this is what our people should have on a daily basis, especially growing children. But if you look at the cost, the poultry farmers will tell you that is because the cost of feed is expensive. And indeed, it is actually expensive. And simple reason is much of it is needed for the production of, the feed. Not just for chicken. You think the number of chickens or poultry farms we have in the country, or consume in the country. Lagos, for example, slaughters rather, that's the right word, like 12,000 cows on a daily basis. 12,000 cows on a daily basis. So you can imagine the quantity of cows that are slaughtered in Nigeria. So we are not looking at just cows alone. There are goats, sheep, chicken, fish, and all. So when we talk of what we should focus on, apart from the crops I have mentioned, we also have to focus on livestock production. And when I talked of urban farming as well, it doesn't end with crops. You can also have a small poultry farm in your home. You don't need to have that big one, that will be smelling and disturbing the entire neighborhood. You can have some chickens around. You can have some birds, some pigeons, and all of that, which would provide fresh meat for you, fresh eggs for you and your family. Now let's look at yam. Nigeria, the largest producer of yam. We may not be the largest exporter, but I know that Ghana is the largest exporter, but we are the largest producers. Why? A lot of our yams leave the country, pass through Ghana, and is exported, for reasons that we may not have time to discuss on this program. So these are the most stable, foods in Nigeria. And the last but not the least, which we need to focus on, is cassava. Yeah, if you look at the products that come from cassava, from our regular gari, that is everybody's food, to fufu, and all the other products. Right now, even the cassava peels are used for feeding livestock. So nothing is wasted. So we need to invest and teach our farmers, that they must diversify. It is not just producing for the family consumption alone. Because many of them, what happens, what they produce cannot even last them 1 year.
Okay.
And then they now begin to shout and call on government for help.
Right. Now, Before we go, can you share with us how can agriculture or the agricultural sector be made to look attractive to the young people?
Yes, the young people have a big opportunity in agriculture. Agriculture should not just be seen as the old man's job as it's currently viewed. And a lot of young people are already doing that. And where the young people can come in really is through value addition. Value addition, processing. You may not necessarily go into direct production, but you are adding value and you are processing. You look at, go around the supermarkets and see cashew nuts. There are companies making huge amount of money. If you see cashew by the roadside, you just buy and throw the seeds away. But the cashew nut, once it's processed, go to the supermarket and it's costing nothing less than 5,000 per bottle. You look at the common plantain chips, coconut chips, and all. I see that some young people are even producing dry mangoes. We don't usually have dry mangoes in Nigeria. Once the season of mango is over, like right now, mango is going off season. You will see that there will be no mango anymore. And the ones you will find very expensive. So, but once it's in season, there's clog in the market, some are wasted. So, post-harvest losses can be called. These are huge opportunities for young people. Now, investing in technology, a lot of young people are technology savvy right now. And you see that there are some innovations that young people are even, doing currently. That gives them, just imagine the number of farmers we have in the country. And all of them are looking for information about how to get input, information about how to get, financial resources, credit and all. And some young persons just create a platform, that bring farmers, connect farmers and producers and even buyers and all together. So there's a lot that young people can do. Agriculture at the moment cannot and should not be seen as the old people's job alone.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the program and sharing with us your thoughts. We're glad to have you come on Frontiers.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We have been taking a look at Nigeria's drive towards sustainable agriculture, and our guest has been Dr. Michael Teungwa David, an environmental advocate and executive director, Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, GIFSEP. Thanks for your time. I am Frama Pani.